The vast emptiness of space stretched out before the Xyloxian exploration vessel, Stellar Seeker. Captain Zorax stood on the bridge, his 4 eyes scanning the holographic displays surrounding him. The ship had been searching this remote sector of the galaxy for weeks, hoping to find valuable resources or ancient artifacts. "Captain, we're picking up some unusual readings," chirped Navigator Lyra, her tentacles dancing across the control panel. Zorax turned his attention to her station. "What kind of readings, Navigator?" "It's hard to say, sir. The energy signatures are old, very old, but they're definitely artificial." Intrigued, Zorax ordered the ship to change course and investigate. As they approached the source of the readings, the crew's excitement grew. Discoveries like this were rare, and they could mean promotions, fame, or even riches. The Stellar Seeker dropped out of faster-than-light travel, and gasps of awe filled the bridge. Before them floated a massive fleet of ships, unlike anything the Xyloxians had ever seen before. "By the cosmic eggs," whispered Science Officer Quix, his scales changing color in amazement. "There must be hundreds of them." Zorax leaned forward, his eyes wide with wonder. The ships were clearly ancient, their hulls pitted and scarred by millennia of drifting through space. They varied in size and shape, from small, agile-looking craft to enormous behemoths that dwarfed even the largest Xyloxian vessels. "Are they operational?" Zorax asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Quix ran his sensors over the fleet, shaking his head in disbelief. "No, Captain. They appear to be completely powered down. They're just floating here, like a graveyard of ships." "Any idea who built them?" Zorax asked, his curiosity piqued. Quix studied his readings, his brow furrowed in concentration. "It's hard to say, Captain. The design doesn't match any known species in our database. But wait a moment." He paused, double-checking his findings. "Captain, you're not going to believe this. There are traces of organic material on board. And it matches. It matches the legendary humans." A hush fell over the bridge. Humans were a myth, a story told to young Xyloxians about a species so advanced they had transcended physical form. Some said they had ascended to a higher plane of existence, while others believed they had simply died out eons ago. "Humans," Zorax repeated, his voice filled with skepticism. "Are you certain, Quix?" The science officer nodded vigorously. "As certain as I can be, sir. The organic traces are a perfect match for the human samples in our ancient records." Zorax sat back in his command chair, his mind racing. If this fleet truly was of human origin, it could be the greatest discovery in galactic history. But it also posed a significant risk. Human technology was said to be incredibly advanced, even by the standards of modern species. "All right," Zorax said, making a decision. "We'll send over an exploration team. But be cautious. We don't know what kind of defenses or traps might still be active." As the exploration team prepared to board the nearest ship, Zorax couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. The ships looked so old, so primitive compared to their sleek Xyloxian vessel. It was hard to believe they could pose any real threat or hold any significant value. The team, led by Security Chief Vex, boarded the ancient vessel. Their helmet lights illuminated dusty corridors and control rooms filled with strange, outdated technology. "This stuff looks like it belongs in a museum," Vex commented over the comm channel. "I can't believe the legendary humans used equipment this basic." As they explored deeper into the ship, they found no signs of life, no active systems, nothing but dust and silence. It seemed the fleet was truly dead, a relic of a long-lost civilization. Back on the Stellar Seeker, Zorax watched the feed from the exploration team with growing disappointment. He had hoped for more from this supposedly advanced race. "Well," he sighed, "at least we can salvage some materials. Prepare tow." Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. Zorax spun around, his heart's racing. "What's happening?" Navigator Lyra's tentacles flew over her console. "Captain, The fleet, it's powering up. As the Xyloxians watched in disbelief, lights flickered to life across the ancient ships. Engines that had been silent for millennia roared to life, and weapon systems beyond their comprehension hummed with energy. The exploration team's panicked voices came over the comm. "Captain, everything's activating. We can't control it. We need to get out of here." Zorax stared at the now active fleet, realizing with a mixture of awe and fear that they had gravely underestimated these ancient vessels. The laughter and dismissive comments from earlier now seemed foolish and premature. As the Stellar Seeker scrambled to retrieve its exploration team and retreat to a safe distance, one thought echoed through Zorax's mind. The humans might not be as extinct as everyone believed, and their legacy was far more powerful than anyone had imagined. News of the Xyloxian discovery spread quickly across the galaxy. Within days, representatives from various alien races gathered at a hastily organized conference on the neutral planet of Nexus Prime. The grand meeting hall buzzed with excitement and speculation. Ambassador Crix of the Xyloxians stood at the podium, his scales shimmering with pride. "Esteemed colleagues," he began, "as you've all heard, our exploration team has made a groundbreaking discovery. We have found what we believe to be an ancient human fleet." Murmurs rippled through the audience. The humans were a subject of much debate and speculation throughout the galaxy. Some saw them as mythical beings of great power, while others dismissed them as an extinct race whose achievements had been exaggerated over time. "While the fleet appears to be of human origin," Crix continued, "we must temper our expectations. Our initial examinations show that this technology is primitive by our current standards." Holograms flickered to life around the hall, showing images of the ancient ships. The assembled aliens leaned forward, studying the unfamiliar designs with a mixture of curiosity and amusement. General Zark of the militant Kravax Empire scoffed loudly. "You call this a discovery? These ships look like they'd fall apart if you so much as sneezed on them." Laughter echoed through the hall. Even the usually stoic Aetherian delegates allowed themselves a chuckle. "I must agree with General Zark," said Professor Lumi of the Aetherian Science Academy. Her luminous body pulsed with each word. "While this discovery is certainly interesting from a historical perspective, it hardly seems to live up to the legends of human technological prowess." Ambassador Crix tried to regain control of the situation. "But colleagues, you must understand. These ships, despite their appearance, showed signs of life. They powered up when our team investigated them." This revelation sparked a new round of discussion, but not the kind Crix had hoped for. "Powered up," laughed Trader Gorks, a rotund Blodian. "What did they do? Turn on some blinking lights?" More laughter filled the hall. Crix felt his scales drooping in embarrassment. "Perhaps," suggested Diplomat Serena of the empathic Illyrian race, her voice gentle, "we should consider what we can learn from this discovery. Even if the technology is outdated, it might provide insights into human culture and history." Her reasonable tone calmed the room somewhat, but the overall mood remained dismissive. General Zark stepped forward, his military medals clanking. "I propose we salvage these relics for raw materials. They're of no use to us as they are, but we could at least melt them down for scrap." This suggestion was met with nods of approval from many delegates. Crix felt a sense of unease growing in his stomachs. "Surely we should study them further before taking such drastic action," he protested weakly. Professor Lumi waved a glowing tentacle dismissively. "I've seen all I need to see, Ambassador. These advanced human ships are no match for even our most basic modern vessels. They pose no threat and offer little scientific value." The conference quickly devolved into a debate about how best to divide the salvage rights to the fleet. Crix watched in dismay as the assembled races haggled over percentages and territories, treating the monumental discovery as nothing more than a convenient source of raw materials. As the meeting drew to a close, a consensus had been reached. A joint salvage operation would be mounted, with ships from various races converging on the location of the human fleet. The ancient vessels would be dismantled, their components studied briefly before being recycled into more useful forms. Crix left the conference hall feeling deflated. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were all making a terrible mistake. The memory of those ships powering up, of the strange energy readings his crew had detected, nagged at him. But as he boarded his ship for the journey home, he overheard two junior diplomats chatting excitedly about the valuable metals they might extract from the human vessels. Their laughter echoed in his ears, a stark reminder of how quickly awe had turned to derision. Little did any of them know that their underestimation of the ancient human fleet would soon prove to be one of the greatest mistakes in galactic history. As salvage ships from a dozen worlds made their way toward the fleet's location, the seemingly dormant vessels waited silently in the void of space, their true power yet to be revealed. The galaxy had laughed at the ancient fleet, but their laughter would soon turn to astonishment and perhaps fear when they realized just what the humans had built. The salvage operation was in full swing. Dozens of ships from various alien races swarmed around the ancient human fleet like busy insects. Tractor beams locked onto smaller vessels, pulling them towards the enormous salvage cruisers. Cutting lasers sliced through hull plating, and teams of workers in spacesuits crawled over the surfaces of the larger ships. Captain Draz of the Kravax salvage ship, Ripper, watched the operation with glee. His vessel had already filled 2 cargo holds with valuable metals and strange artifacts from the human ships. "This is like taking candy from a baby," Draz chuckled to his first officer, Vex. "These humans must have been stupid to leave such easy pickings behind." Vex nodded in agreement, but something nagged at the back of his mind. "Sir, don't you think it's odd that we haven't encountered any security measures? No traps, no encrypted systems." Draz waved a dismissive hand. "Bah, these ships are ancient. Any security systems would have failed long ago. Now let's focus on filling that 3rd cargo hold." But as the Ripper's cutting beam sliced into the hull of a massive human dreadnought, something unexpected happened. The beam flickered and died. "What's going on?" Draz demanded. Before anyone could answer, a deep, pulsing hum filled the air. It seemed to come from everywhere at once. Across the salvage field, aliens stopped their work, looking around in confusion. The hum grew louder, and then, to everyone's astonishment, lights began to flicker on across the human fleet. On the bridge of the Ripper, alarms blared. "Sir," cried the sensor officer, "I'm detecting massive power surges from all the human vessels." Draz's eyes widened in disbelief. "Impossible. They're just dead relics." But the evidence was undeniable. One by one, the human ships came to life. Engines that had been silent for millennia roared to life. Weapon systems hummed with energy. Strange, shimmering fields enveloped each vessel, effortlessly shrugging off the grappling beams and cutting lasers. Panic spread through the salvage fleet. Ships scrambled to disengage, colliding with each other in their haste to escape. The Ripper shuddered as its tractor beams overloaded and failed. "Get us out of here," Draz shouted, all thoughts of salvage forgotten in the face of this impossible awakening. But it was too late. As the alien ships tried to flee, they found themselves caught in an invisible net. The human vessels moved with impossible grace, herding the would-be salvagers into a tight cluster. On the bridges of 100 alien ships, crews watched in awe and terror as the largest human dreadnought approached. It dwarfed even the biggest salvage cruisers, its hull gleaming as if newly forged despite its age. A voice boomed across all communication channels, speaking in a language no one had heard in millennia, yet everyone somehow understood. "Attention, unauthorized salvage crews. You have activated the Earth Defense Fleet's awakening protocol. Please stand by for processing." In the following hours, the human ships systematically disabled and boarded each alien vessel. The salvagers found their advanced weapons useless against the ancient yet incredibly advanced human technology. Draz and his crew huddled on the bridge of the Ripper, watching helplessly as a team of sleek robots boarded their ship. The robots moved with fluid efficiency, quickly securing the vessel and its crew. One robot approached Draz, its featureless face somehow conveying disapproval. "Captain," it said in a cool, metallic voice, "your actions have been logged as a violation of Galactic Heritage Protection Act 7B, subsection 12. Please prepare for legal proceedings." As word of the fleet's awakening spread across the galaxy, the initial dismissal and mockery turned to shock and fear. The human ships, far from being primitive relics, proved to be technological marvels beyond anything the current galactic civilizations possessed. Governments scrambled to respond. Military leaders who had laughed at the outdated designs now pored over sensor readings, trying to understand the principles behind the human technology. Scientists who had dismissed the fleet as historically interesting, but technically irrelevant, now begged for the chance to study it. And in the back of everyone's minds, a chilling question formed. If this was what the humans had left behind as a defensive fleet, what were they capable of now? And more importantly, would they be returning to a galaxy that had so badly underestimated their legacy? The ancient fleet hung in space, fully awakened, a silent reminder of humanity's power and foresight. The laughter had stopped, replaced by a mix of awe and trepidation. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The galactic community was in turmoil. News of the human fleet's awakening spread like wildfire across star systems. Emergency meetings were called, defense forces were put on high alert, and scientists worked around the clock to understand the technology they had so recently mocked. On the neutral planet of Nexus Prime, the same hall that had echoed with laughter just days ago now buzzed with tension. Representatives from all major galactic powers gathered once again, this time with fear and uncertainty in their eyes. Ambassador Crix of the Xyloxians took the podium, his scales a dull gray color reflecting his stress. "Esteemed colleagues," he began, his voice shaky, "we find ourselves in an unprecedented situation. The human fleet we dismissed as primitive has proven to be far beyond our understanding." Holograms flickered to life, showing the now active fleet. The ships gleamed with an inner light, their sleek forms making even the most advanced alien vessels look clunky in comparison. Professor Lumi of the Aetherian Science Academy floated forward, her luminous body dimmed with shame. I was wrong," she admitted, shocking the assembly with her humility. "Our initial scans didn't even scratch the surface. The technology in those ships is centuries, maybe millennia ahead of our own." The hall erupted in worried murmurs. General Zark of the Kravax Empire, who had been so dismissive before, now looked pale and shaken. "What are we dealing with here?" he demanded. "Are the humans returning? Are we under attack?" As if in answer to his question, the large screen at the front of the hall suddenly came to life. The face that appeared was unlike any alien present had seen before, yet somehow familiar. It was a human. "Greetings, citizens of the galaxy," the human said, its voice resonant and calm. "I am Admiral Evelyn Chen, holographic interface of the Earth Defense Fleet. We apologize for any alarm our awakening may have caused." A stunned silence fell over the hall. Ambassador Crix found his voice first. "Admiral Chen, you're not real." The hologram smiled. "In a manner of speaking, I am very real, Ambassador Crix. I am an artificial intelligence created by humanity to oversee this fleet. We have been in dormant mode for over 10,000 of your galactic standard years, awaiting a time when we might be needed." The revelation hit the assembly like a shockwave. The humans hadn't just built advanced ships, they had created sentient AI to guard them. But why? Asked diplomat Serena of the Illyrian race, her empathic senses overwhelmed by the emotions in the room. Why leave such a powerful fleet behind? Admiral Chen's expression turned solemn. Humanity faced a choice millennia ago. Our technology had advanced to a point where we could transcend our physical forms, explore dimensions beyond this one. But we couldn't simply abandon the galaxy we had called home. The hologram gestured, and the screen filled with images of beautiful planets, diverse ecosystems, and young alien civilizations. "We saw the potential in this galaxy, the beauty and diversity of life. We decided to leave behind guardians, to watch over the cosmic garden we were leaving behind. The aliens watched, mesmerized, as the history of their galaxy played out before them. They saw how the human fleet had silently intervened over the millennia, deflecting asteroids from populated worlds, neutralizing gamma-ray bursts that would have sterilized entire sectors, all without the younger races ever knowing. "We are not conquerors," Admiral Chen continued. "We are gardeners, caretakers. Our mission is to allow life in this galaxy to flourish and grow, to reach its full potential without the threat of cosmic catastrophe." The assembly hall was silent as the implications sank in. The very beings they had mocked and dismissed had been their unseen protectors for thousands of years. Ambassador Crix stepped forward, his scales now shimmering with a mix of awe and gratitude. "Admiral Chen, on behalf of the galactic community, I extend our deepest apologies for our earlier misunderstanding and our profound thanks for your guardianship." A holographic admiral smiled warmly. "No apologies are necessary, Ambassador. Your curiosity and drive to understand the universe are exactly why humanity chose to protect this galaxy. We look forward to watching your continued growth and achievements." As the hologram faded, the assembled aliens looked at each other with new eyes. The laughter and mockery of days past were forgotten, replaced by a deep sense of humility and wonder. They had not only discovered an ancient fleet, but had glimpsed a legacy of compassion and foresight that spanned millennia. The galaxy would never be the same again. The revelation of humanity's silent guardianship opened up new avenues of scientific and philosophical inquiry, and in the back of every alien's mind, a new question formed. If this was what humanity left behind, what marvels might they be exploring in the dimensions beyond? Weeks passed since the revelation of the human fleet's true purpose. The galaxy was still adjusting to this new reality when an even greater threat emerged from the depths of intergalactic space. They called themselves the Void Swarm, a massive armada of biomechanical ships, driven by a hunger to consume all in their path. They had devoured countless galaxies before setting their sights on this one. The first attack came swiftly and without warning. The Blobian homeworld, on the outer rim of the galaxy, was overwhelmed in a matter of days. Distress signals flooded the galactic communications networks. On Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council convened once again, this time in panic. Holographic displays showed the Void Swarm's relentless advance. "We must unite our forces," General Zark shouted, pounding his fist on the table. "It's our only chance." But even as the words left his mouth, everyone knew it wouldn't be enough. Their most advanced weapons barely scratched the Void Swarm's ships. Ambassador Crix, his scales pale with fear, turned to the hologram of Admiral Chen. "Admiral, we need help. Can the human fleet defend us against this threat?" The eye's face was serious. "This is precisely the kind of threat we were left to guard against, Ambassador. The Earth Defense Fleet stands ready." A collective sigh of relief swept through the council chamber, but their relief was short-lived. However, Admiral Chen continued, "Even our technology has limits. The Void Swarm's numbers are vast. We cannot guarantee victory without help." The alien representatives looked at each other in confusion. What help could they possibly offer to the godlike human technology? Admiral Chen's hologram expanded, showing a complex diagram. "The human fleet possesses a weapon capable of neutralizing the Void Swarm, a gravity wave generator that can disrupt their biomechanical structure. But to cover the entire galaxy, we need to create a network of amplification points." Understanding dawned on Professor Lumi's face. "You need us to position ourselves across the galaxy to amplify the weapon's effect." "Precisely," Admiral Chen nodded. "It will be dangerous. Many of you will be in the direct path of the Void Swarm. But it's our best chance for survival." The council chamber erupted in debate, fear warred with determination on every face. Finally, General Zark stood up, his voice firm. "We've been under humanity's protection for millennia without knowing it. It's time we stood up and fought for ourselves and for the galaxy we share. One by one, the representatives voiced their agreement. A plan was formed. Ships from every race would position themselves at strategic points, forming the amplification network. As the Void Swarm approached, the galaxy prepared for battle. The once mocked human fleet took the front lines, their advanced technology now a beacon of hope. The confrontation began in the cold vastness of space. The Void Swarm's ships blotted out the stars, their biomechanical forms writhing with hunger. They met the human fleet head-on, expecting easy prey. Instead, they found an immovable force. The human ships danced through space, their weapons tearing through the swarm's defenses. But for every enemy ship destroyed, 10 more took its place. Across the galaxy, alien ships held their positions, their crews watching in awe as the human fleet battled against impossible odds. Many of these aliens had laughed at the primitive human technology just weeks ago. Now, they prayed it would be enough to save them all. Admiral Chen's voice rang out across all channels. All ships, brace for impact. Gravity wave generator activating in 3, 2, 1. A blinding light erupted from the center of the human fleet. It spread outward in a wave, growing stronger as it hit each amplification point. The alien crews felt their ships shudder as the wave passed through them. When it reached the Void Swarm, the effect was catastrophic. The biomechanical ships writhed in agony, their structures breaking down at the molecular level. In a matter of minutes, the seemingly invincible armada was reduced to drifting debris. As the light faded, a stunned silence fell across the galaxy. Then, gradually, cheers erupted from every ship, every planet, every space station. They had faced extinction and survived, thanks to the technology they had once ridiculed. In the council chamber on Nexus Prime, Ambassador Crix turned to Admiral Chen's hologram, tears in his eyes. "Thank you," he said simply. "We owe you everything." The AI smiled warmly. "You owe yourselves as well, Ambassador. It was your courage and unity that made this victory possible. Humanity would be proud of how far you've come." As the galaxy celebrated its salvation, a new era dawned. The aliens looked to the stars with new eyes, wondering what other marvels the universe might hold, and feeling, for the first time, truly worthy of the legacy humanity had left behind. The victory over the Void Swarm was short-lived. As the galaxy celebrated, long-range sensors detected a second wave approaching, even larger than the first. The Void Swarm had sent only a scouting force before, and now the main armada was coming. On the command ship of the human fleet, Admiral Chen's hologram flickered with concern. "The gravity wave generator needs time to recharge," she announced to the gathered alien leaders. "We must hold off the swarm until it's ready." General Zark of the Kravax Empire stepped forward, his face grim but determined. "Then we'll buy you that time, Admiral. Every ship we have will join the fight." Ambassador Crix nodded in agreement. "We stand together now, as one galaxy." Across the stars, ships of all shapes and sizes prepared for battle. Vessels that had once been enemies now flew side by side, united against a common threat. The human fleet took the center position, their advanced technology forming the backbone of the defense. As the Void Swarm entered the galaxy, the battle began. It was unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. The human ships moved with impossible grace, their weapons tearing through the enemy's biomechanical hulls. But the swarm's numbers were overwhelming. On the bridge of his flagship, General Zark barked orders as his ship shuddered under enemy fire. "Concentrate all fire on the lead ships. Don't let them break through." Nearby, a Zyloxian cruiser commanded by Captain Lyra unleashed a barrage of quantum torpedoes. "This is for Blobia," she shouted, remembering the first world lost to the swarm. The space around them was chaos. Explosions lit up the darkness as ships on both sides were destroyed. The Void Swarm pressed forward relentlessly, caring nothing for their losses. In the heart of the human fleet, Admiral Chen's hologram worked tirelessly, coordinating the defense. Etherian ships, reinforce the left flank. Kravax destroyers fall back and regroup. Despite their bravery, the Allied fleet was being pushed back. The Void Swarm's numbers seemed endless, and for every ship they destroyed, 2 more took its place. On Nexus Prime, Professor Lumi and her team worked frantically to boost the power of the gravity wave generator. "We need more time," she called out desperately. As hope began to fade, something unexpected happened. A small ship, piloted by a young Illyrian named Zora, noticed a pattern in the swarm's movements. They're not just attacking randomly, she realized. They're being controlled from somewhere. Zora's discovery was relayed to Admiral Chen, who quickly analyzed the data. "She's right," the AI confirmed. "There's a central control ship hidden behind their lines. If we can destroy it, we might disrupt the entire swarm." But reaching the control ship seemed impossible. It was protected by layers of the swarm's strongest vessels. "We need a small, fast ship to slip through their defenses," General Zark growled. "But it would be a suicide mission." Without hesitation, Zora volunteered. "I can do it," she said, her voice steady despite her fear. "My ship is small enough, and I've studied their movement patterns." Admiral Chen's hologram turned to the young Illyrian. "The fate of the galaxy may rest on your shoulders, Zora. Are you sure?" Zora nodded, thinking of her home world, of all the lives at stake. "I'm sure." As Zora's ship prepared to launch, the Allied fleet gathered its remaining strength for one final push. "All ships, give Zora everything you've got," General Zark roared. "Clear her a path." The battle reached a fever pitch. Every ship in the Allied fleet fought with desperate courage, creating a brief opening in the swarm's lines. Zara's ship shot forward, dodging and weaving through the chaos. Laser fire and biomechanical tentacles grazed her hull as Zara pushed her engines to the limit. The control ship loomed ahead, a massive, pulsing organism at the heart of the swarm. "I'm almost there," Zara reported, her hand steady on the controls. "But my weapons aren't strong enough to penetrate its defenses." Admiral Chen's voice came through clear and calm. "You don't need to destroy it, Zora. Your ship's engines. Overload them." Understanding dawned on Zora. She took a deep breath, aimed her ship at the control vessel's most vulnerable point, and fired her engines to critical. The resulting explosion was small compared to the scale of the battle, but its effect was immediate. The control ship shuddered and went dark. All across the battlefield, Void Swarm ships suddenly lost coordination, colliding with each other or drifting aimlessly. "Now," Admiral Chen called out, "all ships, concentrate fire." The Allied fleet surged forward, tearing through the now disorganized swarm. As the tide of battle turned, the gravity wave generator finally came online. A pulse of energy swept across the galaxy, disintegrating what remained of the Void Swarm. As the light faded, cheers erupted across every communication channel. The battle was over. The galaxy was safe, and in the silence that followed, every being, from every world, remembered the young Illyrian pilot who had given her life to save them all. The human fleet had provided the technology, but it was the courage of the galaxy's people that had won the day. As cleanup operations began, alien races that had once laughed at the idea of human achievements now looked to the stars with newfound respect and wonder. In the months following the great battle against the Void Swarm, the galaxy entered a period of rebuilding and reflection. The human fleet, once mocked and underestimated, now stood as a symbol of hope and unity for all alien races. On Nexus Prime, a grand ceremony was held to honor those who had fallen in the battle and to celebrate the new era of galactic cooperation. Representatives from every world gathered in the same hall where, not long ago, they had laughed at the idea of human technological superiority. Ambassador Crix, his scales shimmering with pride, took the podium. "Friends, allies, fellow survivors," he began, his voice echoing through the packed chamber. "We stand here today not just as victors, but as a changed galaxy. We have learned the true meaning of unity, courage, and humility. The hologram of Admiral Chen appeared beside him, her presence a reminder of the incredible legacy humanity had left behind. The human fleet was created to protect and nurture life in this galaxy, she said, her voice warm. But it was your bravery, your willingness to stand together in the face of extinction, that truly saved us all. General Zark, his gruff exterior softened by recent events, stepped forward. We owe a debt not just to the humans who left us this magnificent fleet, but to each other. Every race, every world played a part in our victory. A moment of silence fell as the assembled aliens remembered Zora, the young Illyrian pilot who had sacrificed herself to turn the tide of battle. Her courage had become legendary, inspiring a new generation across the galaxy. Professor Lumi floated forward, her luminous body pulsing with excitement. The technology we've gained from working alongside the human fleet has advanced our understanding of the universe by centuries. But more importantly, it has shown us what we can achieve when we work together. As if to emphasize her point, a group of scientists from various races unveiled their latest project, a new ship design that combined the best elements of human technology with innovations from across the galaxy. It was a testament to how far they had come in such a short time. But our journey is far from over, Ambassador Crix continued. The humans who created this fleet are still out there, exploring realms beyond our understanding. And now we have a choice to make. Admiral Chen's hologram nodded. The Earth Defense Fleet was left to protect you, to give you time to grow and learn. You have now proven yourselves worthy of that trust. The choice of what to do next is yours. The hall buzzed with excitement and anticipation. General Zark was the first to speak up. We should use this technology, this knowledge, to explore our galaxy fully, to ensure no threat like the Void Swarm ever catches us unprepared again. Professor Lumi's glow brightened. Yes, but not just for defense. Think of the scientific discoveries we could make, the mysteries we could unravel. Others chimed in, each with their own ideas and dreams. It was clear that the galaxy was no longer content to simply exist. They wanted to thrive, to push the boundaries of what was possible. As the discussion continued, a young Blobian scientist raised an intriguing question. What if we could follow the humans? Not immediately, but someday. To thank them, to learn from them, to see what lies beyond our galaxy. The idea sent a ripple of excitement through the crowd. It was ambitious, perhaps even impossible with their current technology, but it gave them a goal, a dream to strive for. Ambassador Crix looked out at the sea of eager faces, then turned to Admiral Chen. What do you think? Is that what the humans would have wanted? The AI smiled warmly. The humans left this fleet behind because they saw potential in all of you. They would be overjoyed to see how far you've come, and excited to see where you'll go next. As the ceremony drew to a close, a sense of purpose filled the hall. The galaxy that had once laughed at the ancient human fleet now stood ready to carry on its legacy. They would explore, innovate, and grow, always remembering the lessons they had learned. In the years that followed, the united races of the galaxy made incredible strides. They terraformed dead worlds, cured diseases that had plagued them for millennia, and pushed the boundaries of science and exploration. The human fleet, under Admiral Chen's guidance, remained a steadfast protector and partner in their endeavors. And somewhere out there, beyond the limits of their galaxy, the descendants of humanity continued their own journey. Perhaps someday, in some distant future, their paths would cross again. But until then, the galaxy they had left behind was in good hands, flourishing under the care of races who had learned to see the value in every civilization, no matter how ancient or seemingly primitive. The laughter had long since faded, replaced by respect, wonder, and an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. The legacy of humanity lived on, not just in the fleet they had left behind, but in the united, curious, and courageous galaxy they had helped to create.